Summarizing and paraphrasing is one of those skills that takes practice to develop. I mean, there's just no other way around it. The only way to get good at summarizing and paraphrasing a text is to practice, practice, practice. So that's what we're going to do today is we're going to revisit and take some notes on summarizing and paraphrasing. In Canvas, you should have been given a template or a choice of templates to decide which one you wanted to put in your interactive notebook for summarizing and paraphrasing. And like our previous PowerPoints, what because they are guided notes, all you have to do is once you put the template into your interactive notebook, whether you've printed it out or copied the template into your interactive notebook, you should only need to copy the words in red into the template that you have chosen. So here we go. Okay. First of things we need to do is to distinguish between the two terms of what it means to summarize and what it means to um, paraphrase. Lost the word there for a second. What it means to summarize and what it means to paraphrase. So let's take the word summarize first. Summarize means to take the most important information from a text and put it into an abbreviated manner. Um, so, in the, of course, the most hilarious way, um, our penguin is saying, in summary, which is another form of the word summarize, Trixie is saying arf. This is hilarious to me. I have no idea why. However, paraphrasing is very different um, from summarizing in the fact that you are going to rewrite the passage or the text using simplified language. You're going to want to take the essence of the text, change the words while still giving the essence of the text. So we're now taking Trixie, our dog, and saying woof in order to paraphrase what Trixie is saying. Just in case you don't understand her arf, woof is the same thing. So, paraphrasing is a way to simplify a text that might be a little bit hard, but it's able to still capture the essence of a text. So, that's a lot to distinguish. So, what is really the difference between summarizing and paraphrasing? Well, summarizing is considered shortening. We're keeping the words of the text. We're just tossing out maybe some of the words that we don't need. Well, um, may lead the text. Paraphrasing may lead to text that is just as long as the original, but we're using our own words. So a paraphrase may be just as long as the original text. It may has just as many lines, it may have just as many words, but I've changed those words into more simplified language usually in order for the reader to better understand them while keeping the essence of the text. In other words, the main idea. So let's take the following passage and use it as an example. Long ago in feudal Japan, ninjas were secret agents who would utilize disguises to gain access to enemy territory. Their primary role was to gather information about the enemy's armies and weapons. They would sometimes sabotage enemies by committing arson and setting fires to their stronghold or stealing supplies. Take a look at some of the vocabulary in this. We've got vocabulary such as disguises, primary role, committing, sabotage, stronghold, stealing, supplies. That is some higher level vocabulary. Well, we've also got some tier three vocabulary that is grade specific: feudal Japan, ninjas, territory. So we're talking about some higher level vocabulary. So we've got to start talking about, and depending on what the task asks us, what would be better, a summary or a paraphrase? And so we're actually going to look at what both would look like. So let me go back. So, what is the most important information in here? The fact that it's feudal Japan and ninjas, that they were secret agents, that they gathered information, and that they sabotaged their enemies. So, the fact that that is the most important information for a summary, we're going to take that and put it into a summary. And look, it is much, much shorter. Long ago, Japanese secret agents called ninjas would gather information and sabotage their enemies. The rest of the text could be left out because it was just extra information or fluff. Wonderful supporting not necessarily fluff, but wonderful supporting details that were great information for somebody who was really into ninjas, kind of like my 6 year old is right now. However, somebody that's not into ninjas would say, hey, summarize that for me. Here's the essence of what a ninja is in long ago feudal Japan. And there you go. So, what about this paraphrase? Let's take out all of that higher level vocabulary and make it so that maybe my 6 year old who is really into ninjas right now, I want to paraphrase this passage for him so that maybe those elementary school students could understand it a little bit better. In medieval Japan, spies called ninjas wore disguises to sneak into their rival's region. A ninja's primary role was to collect important data about the enemy's resources. Sometimes they would set fire to their enemy's fortress. They would also steal provisions. So, see, it's just as long as the original text, but using simpler language. But it's most important that you always first read your text. Don't attempt to write a summary or a paraphrase as you're reading. You need to read the whole thing first because inevitably you're going to end up writing or including something that is probably not needed. And as our doggy reminds us, if you write while you read, if you write a crummy summary, don't write a crummy summary. Okay, so that was a bad song. Please don't ever quote me on that. And don't let this end up on YouTube. Well, outside of my channel anyway. So, how do I paraphrase? The first step is to read the passage several times so that you completely understand it. If you don't understand the passage, you're never going to write a summary or a good paraphrase. Look away from the original and then write your paraphrase. If you can't, looking directly at the passage will make you just simply copy the passage over. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a paraphrase that is simply a student recopying word for word the original paragraph, the original passage, because they were looking at the original passage while writing their paraphrase simultaneously. Your paraphrase is best done while you push the original passage to the side, then write your paraphrase from memory. The only way you can do that is if you have read the original text several times and understand it completely. So you need to get good about holding large quantities of information in your brain and manipulating it successfully. How can you do that? By practicing. Then, as always, you need to go back and check the original to make sure that you've not left out any important pieces of information. If you don't go back and check your work, inevitably you've left something out. Always go back and check your work. And uh, and in case you did, and in case you did use the same words, anything more than 3 words in a row that are the same as the original passage, you need to put quotation marks around it. Because if you don't give credit where credit is due, that is plagiarism. And plagiarism is against the honor code. Plus, it's unethical. But you don't want to use quotes too often. If every other line you're using quotes from the original passage, you're not paraphrasing, you're copying. We're going to talk about what it means to use quotes and what it means to copy. There is a difference. So let's compare. Here's the original passage, and here's our paraphrase. Is it different enough that we can say it is a good paraphrase? Remember, we need to make sure that none of the important meaning or any of the important message or important information is left out of our paraphrase. Since we did get all of the important information, this is a good paraphrase. Well, now we need to write a summary. When writing a summary, there are 3 helpful ways to recall the information when writing a summary. You got to get the gist. The gist means the central idea. The gist is best for summarizing an expository text, like a newspaper article or any text talking about an event. So this would be nonfiction. So when I get the gist, I need to make sure to include the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and the how. That's the gist. In other words, covering all your bases. When covering all your bases, you also need to make sure not to dwell on any of the 5 W's and the H. If you spend too much time in any of these areas, you're not doing the gist. So read the passage, then skim it, underlining the who, what, where, when, and how. Fill out your graphic organizer. Graphic organizers, guys, are the best way to keep yourself, well, organized, but it's also to keep you on track. It also saves you from not making your summary too bloated, and then you're basically just retelling the article. It also allows you to organize your ideas to make it into a cohesive paragraph that includes the title, the author, the topic, and the important details. That way you don't leave anything out. So let's try using the gist. First, read the article from a Martian newspaper. Since it is a newspaper article, we will treat it as nonfiction, even though Martians aren't real. Because if you think this is fiction, don't tell the Martians. It'll hurt their feelings. The Intergalactic Dog Show by Dana Scully. Hundreds of Martians attended festivities as the people of Mars celebrated the third annual Intergalactic Dog Show, which took place in the city of Damon on February 44, 2099. 20 dogs competed for the title Best Dog in the Universe. The show winner is the first dog that is part Earth dog and part space dog. Champion canine Galaxia is a Poodle de Lupa, a rare combination of poodle and Lhasa Lupa. Galaxia's owner, James T. Kirk, was the first person to successfully breed Poodle de Lupas on Mars. He is excited about the win, partially because of the unique qualities of the breed. He said, "The Poodle de Lupa is indeed special. They have the disposition of and curly hair of poodle. They also have the special qualities of a Lusa lupa, which include a short muzzle, two tails, and the ability to talk." Kirk worked hard to get the dog show committee to allow mixed breed canines to participate. It is expected that the Intergalactic Dog Show will include more Earth dog, space dog in the future, as people who attend were eager to learn more about the exceptional dogs. Galaxia said it best herself, wagging her tails. Winning the show was a dream come true. I'm happy that Martians everywhere now know that Poodle Lupas are awesome. Now, our first step is to skim back over underlining the who, what, where, when, why, and how. So, who? Martians on Mars at the Intergalactic Dog Show on Damon. When? February 44th, 2099. What? The winner of the first dog show. Part space dog. Who? Galaxia. Why? He worked hard to get the dog show committee to attend the mixed breed canines to participate. So now we need to fill in our graphic organizer. As we're filling in our graphic organizer, we literally just take everything we've underlined and put it and slap it down onto our graphic organizer. It couldn't be any easier. We then take our graphic organizer and put it into complete sentences. Do not just make a list from your graphic organizer. When you are writing a summary is a paragraph that contains complete sentences. This is a wonderful example of a summary. When you're writing a summary, think of the anagram or the think of the think of the think of the acronym IPOP. Important points only, please. These are best for summarizing an expository text that explains or describing something. So, gist is for an expository text that talks about an event that occurs. IPOP is for an expository text that describes something or is biographical, like if you were reading a article about somebody's life. So when you're doing something about a that is describing something like somebody's life, or they're trying to get their point across on a specific topic, you're wanting to do it in hierarchical order. And remember, we talked about our text structures that way. Well, our summarizing is not is the same thing. You're going to take your hierarchical order and put it with your topic there, and then your most important points in first, second, and third order. So, how do I do that? You're first going to read the passage, skim them, and underline the most important details. Decide what their order of importance is, or if it's a biographical order, biographical article, put them in chronological order. And then write your summary. Make sure to include the title, author, topic, and the important details. So we're going to take a magazine article from a Martian magazine. And remember, we're going to consider it a nonfiction piece, even though Martians aren't real. But don't tell them. After Galaxia, Poodaloopa Dogs by Dana Scully. After Galaxia, an Earth dog and space dog mix won the Intergalactic Dog Show in February, people have been curious about Poodaloopas. Poodaloopas were originally bred by James T. Kirk, who realized that a poodle Lusaloopa mix would be a special dog indeed, because both dogs have unique qualities. Poodles were intelligent and playful. Lusaloopas speak but are not at all intelligent. They have the habit of chasing their own tails and singing show tunes at all hours of the night. Kirk's objectives was to create a dog with the intelligence of a poodle and the speaking abilities of a Lusaloopa, and it worked. The Poodaloopas have soft, curly fur, two tails, and grow to be about 40 pounds. They are smart and will sing on command. Most prefer to sing rock or country tunes from the early 2000s, but they will learn any musical genre. They are also playful, preferring chess, name that tune, or hula hoop rather than fetch. The poodle the Poodaloopa's ability to speak and sing make them good family dogs, as well as interesting companions. Sorry, got to move my toolbar. Interesting companions to those who live alone. So, again, underline the most important details from the passage. We know that um, or Poodaloopas, excuse me, are an Earth and space dog mix. They were bred by James T. Kirk. They're a Poodle Lusaloopa mix. They we want to underline we want to underline there's some of their most important features, that they're smart and sing on command, and that they're good family dogs, and they're interesting and that they are interesting companions. Our next is to decide their order of importance. This particular writer decided to go pretty much in the order that the author laid them out. And that's actually a really good idea, because authors lay out their original works um, and their text structures that way on and use that particular text structure on purpose, because their information um, at- with the hierarchical text structure that way, um, has a purpose. So they're smart and went ahead and kept their important details in the same hierarchical text structure as the original um, text. Now they need to take their topics that their important details that they underline, put them in complete sentences, and write their summary. And this is a wonderful summary of a descriptive text.